Welcome to Sinful's Horror Stories. Today's video features truly horrifying missing person stories. Unfortunately, anyone who is on this list is still missing or has been pronounced dead. Sit back, relax, stay safe, stay sinful. Amy Lynn Bradley. In 1998, 23-year-old Amy Lynn Bradley went missing while on a Caribbean cruise. Her father last saw her asleep on the stateroom's balcony around 5 a.m. When he got up at 6 a.m., she had disappeared. The ship was searched from top to bottom. Nothing turned up. Investigators do not believe she fell overboard or committed suicide. In 1999, a member of the U.S. military came forward to say he had talked with a woman that identified herself as Amy Bradley while he was visiting a brothel. He said she asked for help, but before he could ask questions, she was quickly whisked upstairs. He held on to this information and didn't tell the authorities for several months. By the time he came forward, the police were sent to the location. The brothel was no longer there. In 2005, Amy's parents revealed a photo they received on the Dr. Phil show. It showed a woman that resembled Amy dressed in trashy lingerie posting on a bed. She looked disheveled and possibly drugged. Her parents said they believe Amy might have been kidnapped and forced into sexual slavery. There's a $250,000 reward offered for Amy's safe return. Holt. Harold Holt was the 17th Prime Minister of Australia. Harold was a very experienced swimmer and diver. He was well known for his endurance and athleticism. On December 17, 1967, while out relaxing and swimming with his family and friends at Cheviot Beach, Harold disappeared. One of Australia's largest rescue operations was launched, but no sign of Harold was found. There are many that suspect foul play, while others believe he either succumbed to the elements or had a medical emergency of some kind. Harold was presumed dead and a new prime minister was sworn in. Harold left behind a wife, Zara, and 3 children. Ironically, a swimming complex was named in his honor, as he was an avid swimmer. Many Australians find this memorial odd because he disappeared while swimming, yet he has a swimming facility named after him. How weird and strange is that? Calico. 19-year-old Tara Calico said goodbye to her mother and went out for a quick bike ride. She was never seen from again. The only evidence found was her cracked Walkman case. It was found along the side of the road. Witnesses said they saw a van following close behind her, but other than that, investigators turned up nothing. Less than a year later, in 1989, a mysterious photograph was found in the parking lot of a convenience store. The photo was of 2 bound kids in the back of what looks like a windowless van. They have tape over their mouths and a scared look in their eyes. The girl looked similar to Tara, so similar that her mother believed it was her daughter. Next to the girl in the picture was a V.C. Andrews book, My Sweet Adriana. This book was one of Tara's favorites. Did her kidnapper buy it, or was it planted here because of a sick and twisted storyline of brainwashing? In 2013, a task force was formed to dive deeper into the Tara Calico disappearance. So far, nothing has been turned up, but her family remains optimistic that hopefully one day, Tara will be found alive and they will be reunited. Lewis Mackerley. Lewis Mackerley has been missing from his Allentown, Pennsylvania home since June 7, 1984. The charismatic 7-year-old was last seen on his way to his neighbor's house. He frequently visited his elderly neighbor. On this particular day, he was being chased by some older boys, so he stopped at a food stand before continuing on his way. After Lewis disappeared, the police investigated the older boys, but it was determined that they were not involved in his disappearance. There's also the mystery of what was thought to be a child fibbing, but now may be a credible evidence. A few months before Lewis went missing, he He had told his parents and a school psychologist that a lady and a man had molested him on multiple occasions. Unfortunately, his version of events changed, and details were sketchy, so it was quickly forgotten. That is, until he disappeared. Police don't know if this was more than a child's imagination. Did this mystery couple abduct Lewis? Natalie Holloway. The case of Natalie Holloway has perplexed and provoked the curiosity of millions around the world. In 2005, Natalie disappeared while on a high school graduation class trip to Aruba. She had been at a club with friends and was last seen getting into a car with 3 local men: Joran van der Sloot, Satish Kalpoe, and Deepak Kalpoe. When Natalie missed her flight back to the US the next morning, the alarm was raised. Where was Natalie? Natalie's parents immediately flew to Aruba to look for their daughter. They found her belongings packed and ready to go in her hotel room, but no sign of Natalie. The authorities focused on 3 well-known young men who were the last people seen with Natalie. Over the years, there were many interrogations. Natalie's mother, Beth, is a firm believer that the key to her daughter's disappearance is held by Joran and the Kalpoe brothers. In 2010, Joran resurfaced in the news when he eerily killed 21-year-old Stephanie Flores Ramirez on the anniversary of Natalie's disappearance, May 30th. This time he didn't get away with it because he was caught on hotel surveillance entering the hotel room in which Stephanie's beaten body was found. Joran is behind bars, but the whereabouts of the beautiful Natalie Holloway have yet to be revealed. In 2012, Natalie was legally declared dead, an act initiated by her father. Her mother has contested the declaration was very much against it because Natalie has not been found. Maria de Los Angeles Martinez. On October 12, 1990, Maria de Los Angeles Martinez called into a Phoenix, Arizona radio station to advertise her services as a babysitter. A caller then contacted the station and requested Maria's services, as he had children and needed a babysitter for the following day. Soon, Maria was picked up outside her home by the unidentified male caller. A few minutes later, Maria's parents received a phone call from Maria requesting they please come and get her. Before she could give them her location, her phone was disconnected. Maria has never been seen or heard from again. Who was the unidentified caller? Where did Maria go? The radio station had no information on the caller's identity. Paula Weldon. It was just another ordinary December day for Paula Weldon when she decided to go for a walk a few miles off campus. She went to hike the long trail in Bennington, Vermont. She had never been on this particular trail, but was an avid outdoors lover. She hitchhiked her way to the start of the trail. Several witnesses reported to see her at various points along the trail. Her college roommate noticed she wasn't in her room that evening, but assumed she was studying late in the library. The following morning, campus administration was notified of her absence. School was canceled for the next few days while students and professors helped in the search efforts for Paula. She didn't bring any other clothing or make any bank withdrawals to suggest she would have run away. Paula's father was a very well-known and wealthy architect that initially fueled speculation that she might have been kidnapped and held for ransom. But as the days passed and no ransom note was presented, that speculation began to fade. Years passed and investigators were no closer to finding Paula than they were during the first days of the investigation. Kyron Horman. On June 4, 2010, 7-year-old Kyron Horman disappeared from Skyline Elementary School. His stepmother was at the school in the morning attending his science fair. She took a photo of him standing at his science project. That photo was the last known photo of Kyron. His stepmother Terry said that she said goodbye to Kyron and watched him walk away towards his classroom. He never reached that classroom. Suspicion immediately fell on Terry. After investigators started narrowing their suspects, Terry was looking like the prime suspect in Coryam's disappearance. The Hormans landscaper came forward and said that Terry had offered him a great deal of money to kill Coryam's father, Kane. The police tried to get the landscaper to catch Terry on tape admitting to this, but were unable to. Kane became devastated and terrified of his wife and asked the courts for an immediate divorce and restraining order against Terry. It was granted. Coryam's biological mother is convinced Terry knows where and what happened to her beloved smiling boy. There has been no new evidence to come up other than the picture of Coryam at the science fair, minutes before he went missing. The Springfield Three. The Springfield Three refers to a group of 3 missing women that disappeared together. Cheryl Levitt was the mother of Susie Streeter, and Stacy McCall was Susie's friend. All 3 went missing from Cheryl and Susie's house on Delmar Street, Springfield, Missouri on July 7, 1992. Susie and Stacy had been out with friends the previous night, attending different graduation parties. They were last seen at 2 a.m. on July 7th, leaving a graduation party. They subsequently made their way back to Susie's house. Susie's mother was already in bed asleep. Dozens of people descended on the house the following morning when the trio couldn't be contacted by phone. Any crime scene that was there was now extremely contaminated. There was no evidence of a struggle, and their purses and personal belongings were all accounted for. What happened to these 3 beautiful women? Psychics and private investigators have come forward over the years to offer their theories, but no concrete evidence has turned up regarding their bizarre disappearance. Rebecca Coryam. Rebecca Coryam worked on a Disney cruise liner. On March 22, 2011, Rebecca was on the ship at 6 a.m. This is a known fact because Disney has produced footage taken from the ship's security cameras showing Rebecca in the lobby talking on her phone before walking off, never to be seen again. Disney claims they know for sure that Rebecca fell out of the cruise swimming pool and was washed overboard. How do they know this? That is the question, because they also claim to not have any security cameras in that area of the ship. There is also the fact that there is a huge 7-foot-tall barrier from the crew swimming to and the wide-open ocean. She would have had to scale the wall and knowingly jump to her death, or be washed over by a gigantic 40-foot-tall wave. Neither are very likely. The family have said that Disney has not been cooperative or forthcoming in giving them answers to their questions. Why did they say they found Rebecca's flip-flops near the pool in which she jumped, but the flip-flops they gave to the Coryams were definitely not Rebecca's, wrong size and style? And why aren't they giving the Coryams access to the security footage from the entire ship? What's on the security footage? Rebecca's case is not closed, but there has been no new evidence. Madeline McCann. The case of Madeline McCann made huge international headlines when she disappeared on May 3, 2007, from a resort in Praia da Luz, Portugal. She was asleep in her bed while her parents dined in a restaurant with friends less than 200 feet away. Her parents checked on her every half hour until the alarm was raised, when her mother, Dr. Kate McCann, who returned from their resort apartment screaming that Madeline was missing. Resort guests and staff immediately began searching the resort and surrounding area for the 3-year-old girl. Police descended on the area and began interviewing staff and searching waterways. The parents remembered that whenever they checked on their children, the bedroom door would be open and they would close it. It seemed unlikely that Madeline or her twin 2-year-old siblings were getting up and opening the door. Also, when Kate checked on her children the last time and discovered Madeline's empty bed, she also found the window wide open. Speculation is that someone had noticed the restaurant reservation book. The McCanns and their friends, dubbed the Tapas 7 by the media, had made reservations for every night of their resort stay at the same tapas restaurant. Whoever took their reservation wrote that they were to have the same table at the same time every night, and that the group's children would be staying in their rooms while their parents dined. There have been no solid leads in the Madeline McCann disappearance. Was she kidnapped by sex traffickers? Killed in a robbery gone wrong? It is almost as if the little girl just disappeared off the face of the earth. The McCanns and their well-to-do friends have been subjected to intense scrutiny for what some believe to be child neglect. The McCanns have continued to try and keep Madeline's face out there, and even made her a ward of the courts in their native England, so that the courts can work on her behalf. Private investigators in Scotland Yard have spent countless hours on this case. Thank you guys for watching and listening. Please be sure to leave a like, comment, share, and subscribe for future content. Email your true scary stories to thesinfulsavant@gmail.com. I will leave a link to my email in the description box below as well. I hope you guys are all staying safe and happy this winter season. Till we meet again, stay sinful.